Welcome back to The Desk. I'm Mason Mills, joined by Chris, Wyatt, Dylan, and Justin to talk some William Paterson football. Let's start by talking about how William Paterson, they dropped a big NJAC game against Frostburg. Wyatt, you had the call. What'd you see?
Well, a lot of things went wrong for William Paterson right here. If we take a look at the stats, the defense did show up. That was the one big thing for William Paterson. They took the ball away 3 times as opposed to Frostburg State's twice. But the thing that did kill them was the rushing. William Paterson rushed the ball 28 times for a combined 5 yards. On the side of Frostburg State, they rushed the ball 42 times for 157. But something William Paterson did do well, they cut down those penalties, only 3 for 25, as opposed to the side of Frostburg, 11 for 102. A lot of those penalties coming on punts that were roughing the punter.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Sure, the penalty yardage definitely is something if we're going to talk well on the Pioneers, but let's get real, fellas. 5 yards on the ground for 28 rushes, you're not going to be in many ball games with 5 yards.
No, Justin.
I was talking to some of the Pioneers, the 2 defensive ends for Frostburg State. There's one All-American. My name's slipping my mind.
Will
right now.
Sewell.
Will Sewell. Dude is a monster. I was talking to the sports information director at Frostburg State. He says when you shake his hand, his fingers are touching his forearm. This man's an All-American. The only reason he's not D1 right now is for whatever off-the-field issues he has. This dude is probably going to the league. This dude is a problem.
Wow.
He was saying that, Isaiah was saying by the time the quarterback, or by the time he got the ball on the snap, the dude was already in his face. There's nothing they could do.
Sure. Chris?
You know, the offense had a lot of missed opportunities. You know, DeMarco, 3 catches. Robinson, 3 catches, 14 yards. You know, when the defense has 3 turnovers, 3 takeaways, and they're playing at an exceptionally high level, you have to come back and battle back and score and put up points on.
When you don't
on the
convert
offensive side.
turnovers,
Right.
they're meaningless.
Yeah, William Paterson had the ball on the other side of the field at least 2 or 3 times. They couldn't convert anything. They didn't even get a field goal opportunity up. There was one play where William Paterson picked the ball off on the side of Frostburg State. In the very next play, James Waldron threw an interception.
Yeah.
And it was just so deflating for this team because they were in it with Frostburg State as they were last year. They lost 37-19. This was another big game that they probably could have won.
And James Waldron came in they looked to James to be the guy. So when you come in and you look to give your team life, like that's the last thing you want to do is throw an interception.
Sure, definitely a big loss against Frostburg. Hopefully we can get some momentum from somewhere coming into Salisbury this week. We're going to break down some player profiles here. Why we're going to start with Taheem Jackson.
Well, I wanted to talk about a couple of guys on the William Paterson football team that really made an impact. This guy, Taheem Jackson, he's a freshman. He's leading the team in tackles at 47. He's got an interception that was in that Frostburg game, bunch of tackles for a loss. He's had a fumble recovery. They actually returned for 40 yards in that Alfred State game. This guy, Taheem Jackson, is playing outside linebacker with another new guy, Tyler Gross, on the outside. They're really bolstered this William Paterson linebacking core and made it a lot better.
Yeah, the kid is a freak athlete, Taheem Jackson, and I'll tell you what, Taheem Jackson and Tyler Gross have done an excellent job of replacing Carlo Campanetta from last year.
Right.
It's kind of a little bit of sabermetrics action. If you look at it, you're not going to get one person to replace Campanetta, so they made 2 people replace Campanetta. And I'm going to look forward to next week against Salisbury, talking about the defense for William Paterson. Last year, Campanetta had 15 tackles in a blowout in Salisbury. Regardless, going to look for the same productivity from the combination of Gross and Jackson.
Sure.
Taheem's doing his job, and he's doing his job very well. You know, 2 takeaways on the season. 1, he ran back for a touchdown, interception last week. So he needs to continue to keep doing what he's doing. We're halfway through the season, second half of the season left. If he continues doing what he's doing, you know, he's going to end up being a 4-year starter for us. And, you know, hopefully he can stay healthy and be a force.
Sure.
I'll tell you what, man, it's not just Jackson, but the whole defense I'm still really impressed by. I know it doesn't really show on the scoreboard at times. They led up 23 points just recently. But all in all, like we said, 3 takeaways. The defense are doing a very good job of stepping up and showing up and doing what they got to do to put their team in position to win. It just is coming down to the other side of the ball. But Bennett, Jackson, Craig Kimbrough, Pat Moran, all these guys are balling out this year. It's good for them.
I agree.
You're absolutely right. It's been a story this year and going back to last year where the defense is on the field for so long.
It's shadowed sometimes by a bad offense.
And they
That's
get
what
tired,
happens.
and then they let up the one long play for a touchdown, and then all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard, and it's like, how on earth are the Pioneers down by 2 scores? But when your offense isn't keeping up, it gets a little bit more difficult.
But this is what happens when you have linebacking core like this, and you have Charles Faulkner in the middle, and you have guys like Tyler Gross and Taheem Jackson. You can drop these guys back into coverage. They're not just guys that are going to come up and make a tackle. Tyler Gross has an interception. He's blocked a couple balls down. These are guys that can go out in coverage, and you can play zone defenses and be very comfortable with them either guarding a tight end or even Team Jackson, a slot receiver.
And the good news is, the only time we've really seen William Paterson come together and play as a complete team was the last time we were at home against Montclair. So back at Whiteman Stadium, got to be a little optimistic.
Got a little bit of time. Let's flip it to the offensive side. Senior captain Anthony DeMarsico. What?
Well, this guy has been the absolute focal point of the offense. He's played quarterback. He's ran the ball, but primarily he is the receiver. He leads the team in catches, yards, touchdowns, and yards per catch. He had 2 of those touchdowns against Montclair State. This guy is a freak athlete and probably the best offensive player that William Paterson has right now.
Right, we're at the halfway point right now. Game 5 just happened. Last year at this point, Anthony DeMarsico only had 4 catches, 65 yards. He was injured the first 2 games. 5th game started as quarterback. So now a healthy DeMarsico looks just as what we just saw. 19 catches, 237 yards, 3 touchdowns. So going forward to this week, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing and keep providing his team opportunities to bring the win over other teams.
I agree. Dylan, what do you think about the senior captain?
I'll tell you what, it's nice to see DeMarsico back in his natural position. As Wyatt said, last year had him at quarterback for a little while. Now he's in the receiver slot where he's supposed to be, and you see how efficient he is in, providing a spark for this offense, where last year scouting the Pioneers offense was as simple as stop Malcolm Robinson. And so now we add a whole other dimension in Anthony DeMarsico to the offense.
This offense still has a lot of potential in my mind. I mean, they're 2-3 in the season. There's still a lot of football left. They're in a good position still, I think, coming back to Whiteman Stadium. It comes down to the rest of the offense stepping up, too, because DeMarsico has experienced a lot of success when the run game was there. And the 2 big wins they had this season were when the run game was there. Like we talked about 5 yards versus Frostburg State. It didn't give any opportunity for success for the guys on the outside.
Right. Got to get a lot of momentum from somewhere. We got a tough game coming into Salisbury, so fingers crossed for the Pioneers. We're going to have to go to another short break. On deck is Giuseppe breaking down Major League Baseball.